Alright everybody, welcome in. This is going to be our first game here in the Aureil Stormgate circuit, which is a new series of tournaments played out on Sundays. So if you're watching this live, welcome in. If you're watching this on YouTube, check it out on Sundays on Twitch. You will see a tournament every week now for the next 3 months, and culminating in a grand finals. And playing this match here today, in the blue, in the Infernals, this is going to be Yoru. Winner of the last tournament that I was part of, at least. And his opponent, also playing the Infernal faction in the red, this is Wallace. Also known as Alpha Storm. I didn't actually know who was the Alpha Storm account, and now I know. Alpha Storm, of course, being a play on the Alpha Star name. Alpha Star and AlphaGo being two AIs that Google designed to play StarCraft 2 and Go. And Alpha Storm, we can imagine, is an AI that plays Stormgate, and that's where this name comes from. If you're not as familiar with Wallace, Wallace is a pretty strong player. Plays a lot of games on the ladder, but isn't as able to get into tournaments as often. Though I have invited him a few times to mine, and it's because I believe he's a bit younger, he goes to school, and has, you know, some of those real-world responsibilities to take care of. But here he is today, and he's out creeping, and he's cleaning up his health camp as Yoru also cleaned up his, although Yoru's got a little different strategy. He sent his brutes ahead, and look at this farm on the high ground that's putting some shroud on the low ground. That's very convenient. I wonder if he's going to drop an FG on that. No, he just has all of his units just chilling out on it. He doesn't even need an effigy. That's a cool little strategy there. And Wallace has moved out to the Vision camp, and he's going to be successful there, but it looks like Yoru's going to try and yoink his speed camp. Interesting to drop the effigy there and not a permanent one on the shroud. And now he's sending one of his phantoms to go capture the vision tower while he's going straight for aggression here. Now Wallace has a pretty good army to defend this, and of course you have defender's advantage, although at the moment it does look like Yoru has maybe one more brute. A few of his brutes are showing up, and as the Gaunts of Wallace tried to pull forward, they realized, wait a second, we're going to be the front line in a second, and they jump back, trying to let some more of their brutes come up. But in the meantime, Yoru's chased him all the way into his natural, and is he going to get the advantage? Yoru's brutes are staying up. And now it's just Gaunts versus brutes, and I do think brutes win that battle. Although Wallace is doing a good job to micro his Gaunts back and forth so they don't actually have to fight toe-to-toe with the brutes. Imps up at the top there getting chewed on by some brutes. And those Gaunts of Wallace are actually doing a pretty good job of staying alive. Although, perhaps, that is it. He stayed alive long enough. But yeah, that's going to be a GGG from Wallace in this first game. Welcome back in. This is going to be game number 2 between these two. As I mentioned, this is going to be played out on Isle of Dread. And once again, we got in the blue here. This is Wallace. Switching their colors up just to keep me on my toes. And in the red this time, this is Yoru. What's he got brewing for us? He's got one of each. 1-on-1, 1-1. Vault and a Conclave. He's got his first imp going. Usually when you put down that Conclave, if you put down, or if you send one imp to mine Therium, you'll have just enough Therium when your Conclave is done for your Gaunts. I think Yoru was a little slow on that, although maybe that timing I was thinking was back when Therium mining was a little slower, because now we're up to 14. He's already pulled one imp off. Curious, very curious. So he has this timed out pretty well, because that Conclave's about to pop, and this imp is going to carry that last. Oh, look how clean timing that was. He even pulled the imp off. Very clean timing. Definitely something I would expect from Yoru, who is a very well-practiced player. Doesn't play as much sort of just winging it, playing some random builds that he might want to try out. He's got builds that he's practiced, and he, you know, likes to execute them properly. I would say that that's also fairly true of Wallace. Wallace is a very consistent player who likes to have a build sort of planned out and then practice that build. So maybe we will see that here. Now, last game, I don't know if we really got to see his build as much because the rush of Yoru put him back in a defensive position very quickly. And we did see him doing his best to micro with his Gons. And was doing quite well for a while there, but the aggression of Yoru just was too much. And here he is taking out his health camp. Yoru, on the other hand, took his speed camp. Oh, there we go. He's got his health camp out too. I didn't see his units underneath the giant decal there. So they're mirroring each other, as is somewhat standard on an opening on Isle of Dread. Is the long rush distance means you benefit more from doing this early creeping style, and that usually means we've got, you know, 4 or 5 minutes up at the start here where they haven't really interacted with each other. And without the Hexen Scout we have these days, it means that they haven't even really scouted each other. So they don't really know what's coming from the other side. If there was a big amount of cheese, well, it probably would have hit already. But also, this is not a super cheese favorable map. As I mentioned, the long rush distance means that your cheese is going to execute slower and be not as effective. Couple brutes exploding there to those creep damage. I was like, maybe you don't want to do that, but it looks like Wallace did this strategically to get a couple of fiends out there. Aren't these new fiends kind of cool looking? I wasn't a big fan immediately, but now I like them quite a bit. They look like little dinos, and they're easy to pick out, different than the phantoms, which is good. There's a little phantom dude right there. Ah, I died because I'm only a temporary unit. My guts. I don't even have a corpse. That's how awful I am. Just a big bag of blood. So we're still doing the creeping, although let's check this out. Wallace is going up to his 4th up here. It doesn't look like we've got that yet, although that's what these fiends are for. And I've said this in past casts, but he sent these fiends here right away. Well, he sent them here as he was putting down this shrine. This is common strategy that you scout for your opponent's 3rd or 4th while you're putting your 3rd or 4th down. But what it means is if you're Yoru here and you see these units here, that can be a little indication that, oh wait, maybe my opponent went for an early 4th since he's scouting my 4th. I haven't actually taken my 4th yet. So, you know, I don't think he saw that, but sometimes I think of that. Where did those other 2 go? There's one, okay. The other one, yeah, okay. Good job trying to take those camps. And okay, this could be, ooh, I was going to say this could be an interesting clash, but Yoru choosing to pull back. And I think it's because he saw the size of the army there and he knew he couldn't take it. Alpha Storm Wallace has the supply lead right now and has the better army on the map, out on the field. And Yoru just pulled back to regroup, gather up. Like, where's that imp going? Because I find it's good to put some shroud out in this area, either by effigies or, you know, plop a farm here, plop a shroud stone here and here, or something like that. And now you've got some good shroud connecting your bases, and then when your army's just sitting here, it's always got that regen, which is helpful. And alright, we're at the 6th minute approaching, and we haven't really got any interaction yet. A couple of fiends coming down here to check this out. And Yoru's army nearby, easy to redirect and take them out. And there was a little damage done, but remember, now our infernal buildings do heal on shroud, so not as bad as it used to be. Scout Brute taking camps. He's about to get a rude awakening. Ah! That was a manual split. Manual splits don't get you much anymore. They used to get you white health. This Fiend trying to come out. So it's, again, very passive so far. Wallace is the one now chilling back. He has spread a little bit of Shroud out to the center, but no static D put out there. And here comes Yoru, maybe with some aggression, going around the outside, running into some farms here, but yeah, the brutes rush in, get on top of the farms. Farms are going to go down real quickly. We watch as Alpha Storm Wallace is bringing his units in, but the farms have already gone down, and Yoru's just pulling out. He didn't even go for the shrine, which is an interesting choice. Just killed some supply and zodded out of there. In fact, it looks like he's coming all the way back home. And Wallace is in pursuit. And Yoru here has split his army in two. This is something I've been seeing Yoru do a lot in the last few games I've cast of his. I love that he's doing it to creep two camps at once, especially later in the game. This is what we should be doing. Everyone should really adopt this style, I think. Because it speeds up his ability to reclaim those camps. And we can see already that Wallace has reclaimed his speed camp, but he hasn't got the health camp yet. And that's just a little advantage that Yoru's going to have. Now we see Wallace taking the camp. We might think here, you know, okay, they're both going to have the camps now. So is this really that bad for Wallace? Nice dragon, Wallace. It's not, actually. It's kind of okay. But Wallace is now going for his vision camp, which has already been taken by Yoru, whereas Yoru is moving out onto the map. It looks like he's going to go for the Luminite camp. But what this means is Wallace might be, because he's a little behind, might be a little bit out of position, although here he comes to fight with them. The Dragon of Wallace could make the difference here. We shall see. Yoru does have the bigger army, though. Everything's cursed, so I can't tell anything that's going on. Everything just looks like it's got that red aura on it. It does look like a big ball of guck in the middle, and I'm sure there's a ton of gore falling underneath that as all these units are dying. Shadow Flyers come in. The dragon above is still doing its work for Wallace here. And again, that front line is just a churn of blood and guts, but finally it's Wallace that decides to pull back, regroup, get underneath that dragon, and again, starting toe-to-toe. Gaunts in the backline, applying that curse. Weavers on the front for Yoru. One Weaver there for Wallace. But it looks like this battle has been going in favor of Yoru as he keeps pushing Wallace back further to regroup. Wallace has some Shadow Flyers up, but no dragon has been out for Yoru yet. Yoru doesn't really want to fight in this choke here, and this is actually good for Wallace. Still, the supply is in Yoru's advantage, and remember, more stuff beats less stuff. More brutes showing up for Yoru on the front line. They're going to charge in and try and get on top of those units. Unfortunately, there's so many fiends there that they're wasting their stuns on fiends. What's this? Up at the top, there's a few more brutes coming in. They found some reinforcements from the other side. What a long little battle at the choke here. That dragon is just invincible. It seems to just be going for days. The Hellborn have not tried to focus fire it down yet. And now that front line has been pulled out, and the Hellborn are getting taken out by fiends and gaunts. And I think this push from Yoru is actually going to go down. Finally, Wallace is able to hold, and Yoru has to pull back. Some of his last units left here just to fight with these brutes. The dragon's going to easily take them out. And what a killer battle at Wallace's front gate, but Wallace holds back, pushes back the barbarians, and Yoru has to retreat. He's got some Shadow Flyers of his own now because he really needs to take out that dragon. I think it was the dragon who did the difference there. Ooh, big lash on that mag at the last second to take it out. And now we got another battle. It's at Yoru's gate, and this time it's Wallace with the supply advantage. And Wallace coming in, he's got a little bit of a concave with his brutes, plus that dragon still breathing down. Look at all that curse on Yoru's units, and that dragon just keeps inhaling and exhaling its poison breath. So many fiends here, and yeah, we're starting to see them overwhelm and coming through, taking out. We hear those death blows of the Hellborn. And another front line of brutes show up, but I think it's not going to be enough as they're slowly getting taken care of. A huge Magmadon stomp getting on top of all those fiends, which is actually important. But the Mag is down now. The last Hellborn goes down. And this army of Wallace is starting to push into the third base here. These last reinforcements of Yoru pushed up against the cliffside here, hoping to get any kills before they go down. And also we're seeing the units that are popping out. Actually, Wallace deciding, no, I need to regroup. This defense is solid. Huge lash on that Hellborn that just showed up to take it out. And Wallace does have a pretty nice army. He's got a 100 supply lead. And deciding not going for that third, he said, let me just push it. Oh, look at all these free imps. Free imps. Scary, all going down. And again, Wallace just being wise to keep his units regrouped here, because these units keep getting pulled in different directions and then get split off. And at any point like that, some of those split off units can then become victims of a reinforcement army. And that's going to be GG from Yoru in this second game. That's right. We're back at it. This is game number 3. And this is Yoru. And his opponent rocking the red trunks. This is Wallace. We're on Lofty Hope. And this is I like this map. One of my faves, in fact. But not the favorite of a lot of folks. The random number generation spawns. People don't like that, especially from the StarCraft community. I have no problem having to figure out where my opponent is, and I like a little asymmetry to spawns. But some people think that this map might be a little bit unfair depending on what kind of spawns you get. I don't think this spawn is considered unfair, although maybe. Usually we're looking at the camp that's in between the two, and that's an energy camp. For 2 Infernal players, no one's going to care about that energy camp. Unless one of these players is like, I'm going Hexen. Hexen is my build. Or, I don't know, Lash? I don't know. Right. Oh, Corsair mentioning that, yes, this does create a backdoor opportunity for Wallace, which is that is an advantage. It makes this fourth base here a little bit harder to hold. It means your expansion you might want to break, if you're Yoru, you might want to break down these trees and then go for this for your fourth base. Good point, Corsair. It's not the camps that maybe cause it to be a little unfair here. It might just be how quickly you can get onto your opponent's base. But it's the speed camp here. It's the speed camps that they're usually checking out. That they might fight over, but both of them kind of have their own speed camp here. Yours is just a little bit further away. But wait a second, here's a little scrappy scrap in the middle. Wallace doesn't really want to be part of this. He doesn't have quite as many phantoms. He's got a few extra gaunts show up now, but this does still look like it's in Yoru's favor. He's got the extra brute. Here comes another brute, but okay, they are going to turn and fight. And so far, it's fairly even. Yeah, I'd say it's fairly even, but I think Wallace had the slight advantage there. He was on the Shroud more. That meant getting the heal, getting the curse off. And, okay, Yoru being brave here. Is this going to be team creeping? Nope. Wallace tries to get in. Actually, what are you doing, Wallace? You went and got a cabbage. Very curious. His brute runs right through the shadow demons. They're both just kind of timidly trying to fight over these shadow demons, and Wallace does get one at the cost of a gaunt. And now maybe Yoru's going to get the other one here. No, Wallace comes in for the snipe, and not clear who got that. And then they decide, fine, we're just going to go toe-to-toe. We're going to fight here over the vision tower. And yeah, I wish I had like units lost tab or something here, because I do think Wallace is slightly ahead from those skirmishes. His supply is just a wee bit ahead, and that might be that difference. And remember, in a mirror match like this, you get a little bit of an advantage, and it can snowball a bit. Here we are at that energy camp I was talking about. Again, he doesn't really need that for energy. He's mostly just creeping it for the income. Whereas Yoru is not being timid. He's not going to just sit in his camp. He's going to be out there doing the creeping and trying to take out this Luminite camp. And where did Wallace go? He's over here taking out the Therium. And again, those trees are ripe for the knocking down at any point now. It does mean you probably need some kind of Hellborn or Mag Tech. We got charge on the way for Wallace. And did we have it also on the way for Yoru, just a little behind Wallace? And Wallace just has like a wee bit of a supply lead still. A little scout fiend sees where the army of Wallace is. And a fiend trying to take this tower, but there might be a little battle here. And I think this favors Wallace, especially with his little speedy legs right now. So in the cat and mouse that's been going on to start this game, Wallace, I think, is just a wee bit ahead. And he's split his units up now. And it's Yoru who's actually taking a defensive position. Now, in older builds, this could be really bad for Yoru. The creep advantage that you get when your opponent is sitting at home can be very... You know, the income can really change the outcomes a lot, but I think in the current economy, you don't necessarily need to be matching your opponent for creeping, as long as you're behind that, teching properly, or getting your own eco set up. I like this Harbinger added in by Wallace. It's, you know, he might use it for dropping some units, but it can also be used for some quick, cheap Shroud. If you drop it down, get some Shroud, and then drop your effigy, it's a permanent effigy, so that's a valuable thing to do. Yoru, again, they're fighting over the center of the map. Even though it doesn't really matter for attack lines, it's just map control. And so far they've been fighting over it, not in a formal, like, let's go toe-to-toe over it, but just sending their fiends in, sorry. Now it's Yoru trying to get a little aggressive, and I don't know if this is the right choice. He is going to get this vault, maybe, although no, they're all just fighting toe-to-toe. Megalodon gets lashed in and killed, and it's the dragon of Wallace early again that might tell the difference here. Yoru choosing now to pull back as he should. Oh, huge Nightfall infestation, catching so many of those units. And they were in the woods at the same time, making it even harder for them to get out of there. Look at how many phantoms there are. Wow. Wallace is maybe going to get this here. He's going to push up the ramp. He's going to try and make the end of this game. Let his dragon do the business. Now that dragon kind of needs to be focused by the Hellborn. But yeah, good control by Wallace to pull it back out of range. And I think we are going to see the slow churn here as this brute front line of Yoru is going to get whittled away. The dragon does get taken out, but at what cost, as all the Hellborns are overrun now. The ground army is sufficient, and that's GG from Yoru in this game.